What if the prayers you whisper today echo in heaven in a way they never did before? What if July 29th was a spiritual doorway opened only by faith and only for those who believe? Today, we reflect on what Padre Pio believed happens when you pray, especially on this day. This is not just another date. Something deeper is at work. 1. The power of a single day. In the eyes of heaven, every day holds a sacred invitation. But there are certain days like today that carry a grace that touches the soul more profoundly. Padre Pio once said, "Every holy mass, heard with devotion, produces in our souls marvelous effects, abundant spiritual and material graces which we, ourselves, do not know." July 29th is the feast of Saint Martha, sister of Lazarus, and Mary of Bethany, the woman who served, believed, and witnessed the impossible when Jesus raised her brother from the dead. On this day, the spirit of faith and surrender is strong. Padre Pio often spoke about trusting Christ even when nothing made sense. 2. What happens when you pray on this day? Today is not a coincidence. When you pray today with trust, something hidden begins to unfold, just as Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died, but even now I know that God will give you whatever you ask." That even now, faith is the faith Padre Pio lived by. And it's the same faith he wants us to rediscover today. When you kneel to pray on July 29th, especially with the intention of offering your suffering, waiting, or silence to God, Padre Pio believes something divine is stirred. It may not be seen with the eyes, but heaven listens differently when the heart is ready. 3. The story of a woman who prayed on this day. In 1953, a woman in southern Italy wrote a letter to Padre Pio. She had been praying for years for her son to return to the faith. On July 29th, she felt a deep urging to go to Mass and offer her rosary with tears, something she hadn't done in decades. That very evening, her son, who had left the church, completely walked into her home, sat down beside her, and said, "Mother, I feel I need to confess. Can you help me find a priest?" She later learned it was the feast of Saint Martha, and when she wrote to Padre Pio, he responded with only 2 words. Faith works. For what to do today, a spiritual call. Today, take 5 minutes of silence. Pray with your heart, not just your lips. Offer your worries, your family, your struggles to God through the hands of the Virgin Mary. Padre Pio used to say, "Pray, hope, and don't worry. Worry is useless. God is merciful and will hear your prayer. If possible, light a candle. Go to Massachusetts, offer your rosary for someone in need. Even if nothing changes around you, something will begin to shift inside you. Because when you pray today, heaven leans closer." Padre Pio once said, "The more you are afflicted, the more you ought to rejoice, because in the fire of tribulation the soul will become pure gold." July 29th is not just a date on a calendar. It is a divine invitation to be made into gold. If you believe in the power of prayer, if you trust that God is still working in silence, then type Amen in the comments and let your soul speak.